From St. Joseph, Missouri, here is Travis Lee Hartman.
I actually like being the little spoon sometimes, but I think we're probably supposed to be talking boxing right now, but I still like the little spoon sometimes.
So that's the lead in for episode 37. Welcome to the latest episode of Weighing In with Travis Hartman. We are on Zoom again. I don't think people like it when we Zoom weekend Trav, but you know what? Sometimes that's just the way the schedule dictates it. We're recording late again. We're back on track this coming weekend for episode 38, but today is episode 37. Correct?
You know what? When we're busy men, we got to do what we got to do to get our Weighing In with Travis Hartman episode in. So we're making it work with the Zoom.
Well, I'm a big believer in time being an important commodity. It's a scarce resource. It's more valuable than money, in my opinion. So when we can do this, we do it. And thankfully, we've had a long stretch of basically been able to do it in person. But I was out of town, and that kind of threw things off. And I think the weekend before, you might have been out of town, so that kind of threw it off. But this coming weekend, we're back. We're back.
Back on track. By the way, how was your trip to Chicago?
We had a great time. Well, I'll get to that in a few minutes. Let me, before we jump into all this stuff, let's go ahead and thank our media partners. We got TH Boxing, Gulfstream Financial, and IF Enterprises. As always, thank you so much for the media support. I am B Money, the producer. That over there is Weekend Trav. I got to remember the microphone's kind of here, so I got to kind of keep on talking this way, but I'm pointing this way.
Yeah.
How you doing?
You got to I'm doing good, man. You know what? I had a busy full day.
Yep.
And I get to end the day doing a podcast with my best bud. Like, does it get any better?
Boom. There we go. So, anywho, Weekend Trav. Let's talk. Let's talk about boxing stuff. That's why people start to tune in, and then we get into our personal stuff. But let's talk boxing. We got some happenings. We don't want to take all the thunder away from this weekend's recording, but we have some stuff happening. We have a big fight coming up on Saturday, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, and some other things to talk about. But Weekend Trav, I'm going to throw it to you. Let's chat boxing.
Well, we can first talk about the fight that's happened. Actually, the first fight we should talk about is the fight that's happening in England, because it's actually going to happen first. So we'll go with that one first, which is Chris Billam-Smith. He is a cruiserweight, and he's fighting for the vacant WBA Continental Cruiserweight title. And if you're wondering why there was so much to that phrase for this title, that's what WBA usually does. They have a lot of words. But I'm not going to take anything from them because, B-Money, we are the #1 boxing beard bourbon filmed in Orlando, Florida, specifically Laureate Park, inside TH Boxing facilities, except today on Zoom, in the world.
I think because we're doing it on Zoom, we just took another world title away. All of that plus on Zoom, we're #1.
Nobody's going to compete with that. I mean, literally,
nobody.
That strap is ours.
And any internet troll that has a problem with that, well, you just have a problem with life, and you're living in your mother's basement. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and if you're going to be a troll, at least be a good enough troll that when you make comments on our stuff, they don't get deleted by YouTube. That's how stupid your comments were. By the way, and I know you're probably listening, you were stupid enough to make derogatory, terrible comments that YouTube deleted them.
In fact, I saw those comments and I looked at them, and they weren't even that bad. I didn't touch them. YouTube pulled them off.
I didn't even see them. I wonder what they probably were really bad, but whatever.
It was honestly, it was one of those things where I thought about this person specifically for about 2 seconds of my life. And then obviously we're talking about it now, and that's pretty much it. So why in the world, first of all, somebody's coercing us to try to bet money with a stranger online. Yeah. Come on, guy.
I'm like, listen, buddy, he was messaging our Instagram account, and I just stopped responding. And then that made him even more mad because I stopped responding. I'm like, in what world am I going to bet some stranger and then expect him to actually pay when I win? Because I will win. Because I remember what it was on. It was talking about Ben Askren and Jake Paul.
Yeah.
And he was fighting me on that. I'm like, buddy, it's a foregone conclusion already. Like, Jake Paul's winning. It's a matter of how.
Right. And even so, it's like, I actually I wanted his comments to stay on YouTube because I wanted to thank him for the click and thank you for the watch.
I wish I would have seen him because I would have responded probably.
Yeah, it was not okay. So we're turning the page on that because frankly, this person and all these other people, they're not worth it. They're not worth my time and breath. So anyways, we're going to talk our buddy, Chris Billam-Smith, which we met him in Dallas. He was there with Luke Campbell's camp. And so I mean, first of all, that whole camp with awesome dudes. And Chris was just kind of down to earth. We talked to him a little with him for a little bit and just kind of realized I didn't realize he was, has a pretty good professional resume at this point. They basically were honest. They said so in the amateurs, but once he hit the pros, he started knocking people out. And so nice guy. We're going to have him on the In This Corner interview segment here, hopefully after he wins this thing. But we're connected with him on social media too. Just nice guy. Good people. We like good people in the sport.
Yeah, I'm looking at his record right now. He's 11-1 as a professional boxer, but his last fight, he knocked out a guy that was 14-0, and he knocked this guy out in the second round. So he's definitely stepped his game up as a professional boxer. His lone loss, was a split decision loss over 10 rounds to a 9-0 guy. So the guy can clearly fight. I know that I'm going to be rooting for him this weekend. He's fighting on DAZN against a guy named Vasil Ducar, who is 9-3-1, and the fights are at Wembley Arena. It's a big fight card because it's on DAZN. And like you were just saying, we met him because the Luke Campbell camp, which is trained by the McGuigans, which is Barry McGuigan's son, Shane McGuigan trains them. Mm-hmm. So that's how we kind of met Chris. So we got to be good friends with them, and they're actually training another guy that same night on like the main event part of that card, I believe. So it's going to be a busy night for the McGuigans, and wish the best to Chris. And honestly, I don't know enough about the other guy, but what I do know about Chris, he's 11-1 with 10 KOs. This guy's KO percentage is through the roof, obviously. So I'm rooting for this guy. And if you want to just have my amateur opinion on this fight, I think he's going to win it. Like, I think he's set up to win this fight and to get a bigger fight down the road. But I think he's set up to definitely win this fight. And now, knowing who his coaches are, I think he's going to be okay.
I think so too. Now, here's the risk, because I believe Ducar is a replacement, short-term replacement. So there's always a risk to that. You're just never sure. You're prepping for one person, and then something occurs. I'm not sure if it was an injury or something along those lines, but this guy stepped in, I think last week or 2 weeks ago. So a little shorter term on that. So there's always some risk there, but the McGuigans have their fighters ready and set. So, I mean, much love to that whole group, and to Chris. I'm looking for another KO, man. I don't know what round. That's your department. That ain't my department.
Listen, this is going to be a good fight because this Vasil Ducar is 9-3, but out of his 9 wins, 8 of them are by KO. Chris Billam, out of his 11 wins, 10 are by KO. So I'm going to go ahead and venture to say that there's a good chance this fight doesn't go the distance either way. So I'm hoping Chris pulls it off by a knockout, but I don't think this fight goes the distance because both of these guys, they've only been the distance a couple of times. In their wins, at least. So they both have a high knockout percentage. So I think that you're probably going to see, I don't know. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and go on a limb because I usually do this stupidly sometimes, but I don't know enough about these guys. But I'm going to go ahead and call something crazy, like a 5th round knockout for Chris.
Okay.
I'm calling 5th round knockout for Chris. And I'm not going to do a prediction video, so you have to watch this to get the prediction. But I'm calling 5th round knockout by Chris over Vasil Ducar on DAZN, which is by Matchroom Boxing with Eddie Hearn. So I think it's going to be a good fight. It's a cruiserweight fight.
And this will be Saturday, I believe. This is on the 20th. So you said it's on DAZN, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yep. I saw the media picture with Eddie Hearn there standing in the background. And Eddie Hearn's a big dude. These guys made him look small. So,
yeah, I think they list his opponent as 6'3". And I'm pretty sure that Chris looks taller than his opponent. And I didn't think Chris was 6'3", but we were also sitting down at the table. So when we were talking to him in Dallas, so
he's a big dude. He's a big boy.
Tall.
Yeah, he's a big boy. So anyway, so good luck to them. We're rooting for you, and much love to the McGuigan guys out there, the camp out there. Let's talk weekend Trav, the other big matchup. Let's talk Virgil Ortiz and Maurice Hooker. That's coming up, I believe, also Saturday. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's Saturday as well.
Yeah, it's March 20th. You're correct. It's March 20th.
So pretty busy night there on the 20th. We might need to catch some stuff on Saturday, you and I.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a very And that fight is going to be, oh, you know what? I believe that fight is also on DAZN as well. So DAZN's going to have a double header there because the England fights are going to happen earlier in their day because of the time change. Right. So that means, wow, that's going to be, if you have DAZN and if you don't have it, go ahead and subscribe. We don't get any, credit for that stuff, but I'm telling you as a boxing fan, you should subscribe because one, the fights in England are going to be good fights, but also here in the US, there's going to be fights at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas. And it's going to show, I think, in my professional opinion, I think Virgil Ortiz is the kind of the next generation of top welterweights. And I don't want to take anything from him now because he's the WBO International Welterweight Champion. He's 16-0 at 147. And this guy's the real deal. He's fighting Maurice Hooker, who is a former world champion. Mm-hmm. And I believe Maurice Hooker is training with Terrence Crawford right now. So, he's going to come prepared as well. But Virgil Ortiz is the real deal, man. He definitely can fight. He's only 16-0, but this kid can straight punch. And let me tell you how hard he punches, Brandon. He's 16-0, 16 knockouts, man. Nobody's went the distance with him.
Now here's the thing, 16-0, but Weekend Trav, he's 22 years old. 16-0, 22.
Exactly. That's why I said that he is the next generation of this division, because right now the champions are like 30 and over, because we have Terrence Crawford, who's I believe 30, Errol Spence, same thing. They're up there closer to 30. So this kid's only 22. So right now the blockbuster fights are happening for sure with Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Sean Porter, those type of guys. But guess what? The welterweight division, it's in good hands because of guys like Vergil Ortiz Jr., who's 22 years old. This kid is dynamite. He's got dynamite in his hands. He's 5'10". He's got 100% knockout ratio, man. Like, how do you get better than that?
So let me ask you, do you want to go ahead and do a separate prediction video on that one, or do you just want to go and talk about it now?
You know what? I'll just go and talk about it now because Maurice Hooker is good. And Maurice Hooker is a former world champion. Like, this guy had the title at one point in time. And I believe he lost it to Jose Ramirez. So Maurice Hooker can fight, but Maurice Hooker was knocked out by Jose Ramirez, who I don't believe is a big knockout puncher. And Jose Ramirez knocked him out in the 6th round. So I think that Maurice Hooker is going to get knocked out by Virgil Ortiz 4 rounds. 4 rounds.
Okay.
I think Virgil Ortiz, I genuinely, if you want to watch this fight, don't blink. Don't get up to go get some food. Don't do any of that, because this easily could be a quicker knockout than that. But I think 4 rounds. It's going to be 4 rounds. 4 rounds for Virgil Ortiz.
You think age plays a factor here? You got a 31-year-old going against a 22-year-old?
Well, you know what? If you asked me that like 10 years ago and Maurice Hooker was 31, I would say yes. But nowadays, 31 is literally not even close to being old. And I don't think it is, because right now you have guys like Terrence Crawford, who's 30 years old, and the kid is literally probably in his prime. So I don't think age is going to be that much of a factor, even though Hooker is 9 years older than Virgil. If anything, it's going to probably help Hooker a little bit being a veteran and being in a bigger fight, because Hooker's game plan needs to be take Virgil Ortiz into deep waters. You need to take Virgil Ortiz into 10, 11, 12 rounds if you can. Right. I don't think you can, but if you can, that's when you're going to be okay. But I don't think Virgil's going to let it go that long. But Maurice Hooker's been 12 rounds, multiple times. So if he can get this fight longer, that's better. But I don't see it going longer, because Virgil Ortiz is 16-0. But to be honest, most people haven't ever heard of him. But they should know this name, because I'm telling you, this kid's going to be a force to be reckoned with in the welterweight division for dang sure.
Next step coming up. So we got 2 predictions here. We got Virgil Ortiz, 4th round KO. We got Chris Billam-Smith, 5th round KO is what Weekend Trav's calling. You mentioned another name there, and I want to bring him up specifically, Terrence Crawford, because we've started to see on social media another name throw another person throw his name into the hat a bit, trying to lock up with Terrence Crawford, and that is one Sean Porter. So I wanted to get your take on that there, Weekend Trav.
Well, here's the deal. I think I've said this a long time ago. So those two are good friends. And I believe about 5 years ago, they were like, we don't want to ever fight unless we absolutely have to, blah, 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 because they are good friends. But now Sean Porter is actively pursuing this fight, and I think for good reason. And I've said this multiple times as well. If Terrence Crawford doesn't get a top 1 or 2 welterweight in the world to fight, I have to drop him off of my number 1 pound for pound list and put Canelo at number 1.
Right.
So with that being said, the only 2 people, in my opinion, that Terrence Crawford can fight right now and keep him at number 1 would be a Sean Porter or an Errol Spence.
Sure.
Unless he fights either one of those guys on my personal list, he drops off of it because one, Canelo's earned it. And we've talked about this. I've literally made a case that Canelo should be number 1 already. I've made that case multiple times, even though I still have Crawford number 1. I just have a hard time dropping Crawford from number 1 when he hasn't lost.
Sure.
However, if he doesn't fight the caliber of guys that Canelo is fighting, then he does get dropped. And I will drop him if he doesn't get a Sean Porter or an Errol Spence. And B Money, it looks like he might get a Sean Porter if it works out, but Bob Arum doesn't like to pay people. So I don't know if Bob Arum's going to pay Sean Porter the money that he wants or deserves.
I think overall, and I've mentioned this in the last week or two, I'm losing my patience with this weight division. And I think fans are too. It's nice in theory to talk about all these different names, and it's a loaded division, but we need to start seeing something happen. We need to start seeing something, some signatures on paper. We need to start seeing things on the calendar rather than just talking about it. And in all honesty, just a bunch of guys starting to whine and complain on social media. I mean, they're really just, it's getting a bit exhausting to try to follow along. And then I'm just throwing my hands in the air. Like, what is this? Are we just talking about, a bunch of, sorority girls complaining to each other on social media and Twitter and this and that and having a Twitter fight? Show me something. And I know part of that's the promoters, but come on. You're the fighter. Take the bull by the horns and do something about it.
I got 2 phrases that go perfectly with what you're talking about right now. And you're correct. I think that we are a little burnt out that these guys aren't fighting each other. So I have 2 phrases. 1, bring it, don't sing it. I think these guys are singing too much. And 2, I'm from Missouri. Missouri's motto is show me. We're the show me state. So guess what? Hey, welterweights, show me that you deserve to be in the talks with some of the other best welterweights of all time, which, by the way, I think we have to mention this guy as well, is Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler passed away at 66 years old. We're not sure what happened, but I do believe he was battling some kind of a sickness, but that's not disclosed yet. But if you guys want to be in the talks of guys like that, who were some of the best welterweights, light middleweights, and middleweights in the world, then guess what? Show me. And that's what every single boxing fan is thinking right now about the welterweight division. Like you just said, show me. You think you're the best? Bring it, don't sing it. And these guys are bad singers right now because they're bickering on Twitter and they're bickering on social media. Like, come on, guys. Like, let's stop it and let's just fight. Let's literally just fight.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just so tired of talking about him, to be honest with you. But you did mention Marvin Hagler. Rest in peace. I mean, that's just one of those greats, situations, man, where, you're curious as to what really occurred, but you want to also be respectful of such a phenomenal world-class talent. That's 100%. A name well known even with non-boxing fans alike. I had other guys that know that we do this podcast that are friends of mine that don't watch boxing anymore, and they're sending me the links like Marvin Hagler. I'm like, yeah, man, it's sad. It's one of those things. It's just time is short. I mentioned at the onset of the show, time is a scarce resource, man. A lot of things can happen. I think over the past year, as we've all gone through different stuff, positives, negatives, whatever it might be, time to me is so valuable. It's more valuable than almost anything because of what you can utilize it with. And, whether it's with family, friends, whatever it might be, but time is short and it's limited. So take advantage of every minute of every day you got and make sure you're using it appropriately. And so rest in peace, Marvin Hagler.
No, and you're correct. You made a comparison about time. Time is definitely something that you can never get back. And you kind of compared it to money. And I agree. Time is something that you can never get back. Once that second has passed, you never get it back. Money, you can always get back. If you lose it, you can make more, right? So I think that you're 100% on point that time is literally priceless. Time, you can never get back time. So if you want to do something, go out and do it. And
Yeah.
definitely with family, friends, especially nowadays, you know, you never know what's going to happen. You never know if it's somebody's last day or if it's somebody's first day, but take advantage of the time that you have currently with family members, everybody, and definitely cherish that, because time is something that you literally, it's the one thing, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you can't get time back.
Right.
So take full advantage of it.
My whole perspective of a lot of things has changed over the past year or so, and I don't want to necessarily dive completely into that, but it's one of those things where as I'm a financial planner, so you know you're kind of taught and trained chase money, and try to do whatever you can to help people accumulate wealth and find new clients, whatever else. But I've had to take a step back, especially over the past year, and just have better perspective of things. And it goes back to that whole time concept. When I look back at the last 12 or so months, and in some situations kind of forced, but also my own decisions in this, spending more time with my family, my spouse, all these things, and how enriching things can become. And it's not, and you realize that, you know what, money, it's important because it can afford certain things or whatever else. But ultimately, it's that stuff that you're never going to get back. Money, you can always, like you said, you can always earn more. You can always reclaim money in this. And
you can always lose it, but you can always get it back.
Right. But it's the time, it's those moments you can never get back, and you got to cherish those things. So for instance, you know, my wife and I just got back from Chicago, had a great time. We were there for a few days. My kids are on spring break, so we used that opportunity in the first part to say, all right, see you later, kids. Have fun in spring break at grandma and grandpa's doing nothing for a couple of days. And so we went to Chicago, just had a great time, walked around the city. It was cold. They turned the river green for St. Patrick's Day. You know, I
saw those pictures, man. You paid some phenomenal pictures.
It was cool. We had a great time. Didn't care about what we were eating and drinking, and just had a good time together. But that's my point. It's the time that you can never recoup and get back. You know, and so I look at him like, you know what, let's just have a good time. Let's, you know, we're fiscally responsible too, but you know what, I don't care. Let's just go have a good time. Let's go have good meals and share good moments together, and don't care if we sleep in and all this other stuff, because that's always waiting for us when we get back. So it was, I encourage anyone that listens to us here on these podcasts, re-examine and always refocus and retool your life, and think, what are those things that I wish I would have been doing? Do them now. Go do them. Go spend your time appropriately.
Like don't put off tomorrow what you can do today. Like that's 100%. Like, and both me and you, we're kind of on the same like wavelength on that, age wise, at least, that we're so much more mature when we're thinking about that stuff now. And you are financial planners. You have to look differently at things too. But at the same time, you have a grasp on time is very valuable. And at the end of the day, it's more valuable than money. It really is.
I think I had a conversation recently with a client, and they're very good. They're well off, but they were concerned, like they wanted to look at a second property or possibly just doing a timeshare or something like that, just to have more time with their kids before their kids get into high school and graduate and that sort of thing. And I talked to them on a Zoom of all things, and I said, okay, let's just figure out how to do it. Let's just do it. I mean, these are the moments that you'll never get back with your kids. If that's the priority right now, fine. We're going to figure out a way to make sure it works for you and your finances. That's important. It's not always about, I got to make sure I have this much so I can have this much when I retire. Well, you keep focusing only on those moments, you're going to miss everything else passing you by now. And especially for them, it's their family, it's their kids. And so I'm like, I said, no, let's restructure everything. Let's figure out how to make that work right now. That's a priority item. So
see, that's why anybody that's watching, this is not the money. I'm sorry, but I'm going to give you a plug, and whether you like it or not. But this is why, if you need a financial advisor or you need somebody that is going to walk you through those steps, this is why this guy is the man. Gulfstream Financial, B Money, weighing in th at Gmail, and you can talk to B Money and possibly pick his brain, his financial brain, but also the guy's got morals and integrity, that it's not always about money. It's also about life and time that you can't get back. So this guy's good at what he does.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. And, you know, I don't know, thank you so much for those kind words, but you know what?
I wouldn't say them unless they were true. By the way.
Hey, that's because you have integrity too. That guy over there has integrity. I think I'm pointing the right way.
I don't know. Because in my screen, you're like up there.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's transition around. So Weekend Trav, What
Yes, sir.
are you partaking in over there? What do you got? What are you drinking?
Right. Yeah, you just saw that. I just had some boom. But so it's Buffalo Trace, but listen, I feel like, oh yeah, that's just okay. Yep. So we're drinking Buffalo Trace, but if so, there is it's on Hulu. It is a documentary / movie on bourbon and whiskey. It's called Neat. I challenge you guys all to watch it because every barrel of whiskey or bourbon is different. And so we are drinking Buffalo Trace, but we're drinking the single barrel select from Hagan O'Reilly's. So they have a good enough relationship with these people that they get barrel select type of stuff, which is pretty phenomenal stuff.
Yeah.
And
no.
me and B Money, we have it because Luis Salazar, Luis Ortiz, I'm thinking of Virgil Ortiz, but Luis Salazar of Hagan O'Reilly's definitely hooked us up and took care of us. And because of that, we're going to do episodes there again. The next big fight, we're going to be at Hagan O'Reilly's. But guys, this bourbon that they hooked us up with, it's so funny. B Money, this is all true as well, not scripted. Before we even did the show, I already had this opened and I was already pouring a glass of it. And B Money texted me and said, I'm opening a glass of Buffalo Trace. And I was like, I swear to God, I'm doing the same thing. Like,
Bingo.
I'm not even kidding. So we're like on the same wavelength.
Yeah. So I've always liked Buffalo Trace. I think even before we started doing the show, I was like, hey, Buffalo Trace, if we can find it, let's get it. Now, this isn't exactly the stuff that you would find on the shelf, which right now is kind of hard to find anyways. It went from one of those like kind of a cult following. I know the actual distillery does other stuff, other bourbons too, but the Buffalo Trace labeled one, it went from being like a $20-$25 bottle to all of a sudden like $35-$40, and it's hard to find. It kind of has its own allure, but having the selected version from Hagan O'Reilly's, which obviously it tastes a little bit better and it's nicer. I enjoy this bottle.
It does.
It's very good. I'm gonna rate this thing because we haven't rated in a while, so let's do an
we haven't.
rating. So I'm going to go ahead and give this Buffalo Trace, this single barrel select. I'm going to go ahead and give it a pretty big score for me, 8.4.
What?
8.4.
That is like by far your highest score like of all time.
Yeah. 8.4.
Like in the ratings that we've been doing for the last 6+ months, that would be considered the GOAT of your ratings.
It's very good. And it's not just because I have friends with the last name Buffalo, which I do. Props up to Brian and Chris and Rachel Buffalo. But Buffalo Trace.
All right. I mean, I'm gonna rate mine, and I'm gonna have to go with a 7.8.
7.8. Wow.
But that's really high for me too, though.
Yeah. So
I don't think I've rated anything at 8, have I? I don't think I have.
I don't know. So either way, we're in the middle is an 8.1. We're averaging 8.1.
That's
on
fair.
The Buffalo Trace single barrel select from Hagan O'Reilly's, their pick of the barrel. So thank you to those guys over there. You guys are awesome out there in Winter Garden. We're not compensated by anybody to do this show, and we're not compensated by them. We just like those guys. They're cool.
No, 100%.
And their hospitality is great. Food's great. Beverage selections out there is great. I saw the photos from their St. Patrick's Day celebration out there. Looks like they're having a wild time. So props up to those guys out there in Winter Garden. Hagan O'Reilly's. Go check them out. 8.1. 8.1 is our 8.1 boxing gloves out of 10 on the Buffalo Trace single barrel select.
Listen, the stuff is really good. It's smooth. It's easy to drink. It's very affordable. I mean, you're talking, even for the barrel select, I think you're talking under $50 still, but definitely worth it.
Yeah. So, and I think, you have to correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember what Lewis was saying. Like, I think if they have any there, you could probably buy the bottles still from them.
Yeah.
But it just depends if they have anything available. Probably after yesterday, they might not. So, Weekend Trav, I'm licking my wounds from yesterday a little bit.
Listen, I know you are because I was texting you. So I know that you probably for sure are. I would have been However, I was working B money until late. So, but to be fair, I don't normally really celebrate St. Patty's Day. I've nothing against it. Like if I wasn't doing anything, I would 100% have came out.
But me either. Like I refer to it as amateur hour, amateur night. I don't like partaking. My office building was doing something just because they haven't been able to do anything because of all the COVID stuff, whatever else. But this is their first, and so about a year ago, I moved my practice, and I'm in this new office building now, and they did social stuff. Like every Wednesday, they were doing a wine thing and stuff like that. But when all the
like
COVID
little
stuff
mixers,
happened, it shut down. And so now this was the first time they're doing something again. They're doing a trivia thing, and everyone's just having a good time. Some with masks, some with not.
What is this, amateur hour?
It was amateur hour, amateur trivia hour. And you know what? I was an amateur, and I have been trying to get back on track after Chicago to go like low to no carb. So my body was not feeling it this morning. It was hurting. I went to the gym this morning. I don't miss. I went to the gym for leg day. It was awful.
Good job.
Awful.
Good job.
Oh, it was brutal. But I'm here, which is why I was kind of concerned for us recording this. I'm like, dang it, I don't know if I want to drink. but then once this Buffalo Trace hit my lips,
it does.
Once it
touches your lips. Listen,
anyway, so that's where we're at.
You have to realize that I need these episodes for my own sanity as well.
Yeah.
And I need them more so, not Zoom. So I need you to be in person a lot more than this because I need some B money time. Weekend Trav needs B money time.
Well, you got B money time, and I got weekend Trav time coming up this weekend. We'll be recording episode 38 from the TH Boxing facility there in Laureate Park.
And I have a special outfit that I've a couple that I've done, and I've actually put some time and effort into this, and I hope that you like it. Wow. You don't know what it is yet either.
I don't.
I love it.
Just so everyone at home understands, whenever Weekend Trav has the Weekend Trav outfit, I don't know what it is until I arrive. Like when I arrive for our pre-production and the shoot, even in pre-production, he's not wearing the outfit. It's always like, okay, we're going to finish setting up and then we're going to start recording. And then he comes into the gym and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm dealing with. So I'm getting surprised, just like you guys are, when you actually turn on and listen, or not listen, but watch on YouTube, which if you're not subscribed yet, or you're not following our stuff, do it. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button.
You better, because we got 4,500 views on one of our videos. So if you're not one of those 4,500 people, what are you doing with your life?
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing with my life, but I'm watching and I'm subscribed to our own podcast. But so go ahead and do that. Subscribe it. Push this video out or the audio recording out to your friends and family and loved ones, maybe even the people you hate. I don't care. Send it to everybody and allow them to listen, click, subscribe. Go ahead and hit the bell notification icon too, because you know what? It's nice to click something, and it's a positive click, and it's not something that's going to get you in trouble later on in life.
That's the key word. It's a positive click, guys. You're going to hear good stuff, good news, positive vibes, positive stuff, and you might even get a financial tip to make you $1 million.
Ooh. Well, I'm not guaranteeing. I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not guaranteeing.
That's why I said that, and then I paused because I was waiting for you to do the disclaimer.
There's plenty of disclaimer in my world, but you know what? I just want to, if there's opportunities for me to help anybody, or at least point someone in the right direction, maybe it's not with me or my practice, and that's fine too. Everything works out. Everything works.
I think our headlines for this show should be: want to know how to make $1 million? ? And then like ... Don't ask us.
Ooh, that's clickbait. That's clickbait.
It is, but I feel like it's very truthful clickbait though.
So we want feedback. If you followed any of these, if you saw the jump rope videos, that's what's really got some traction here. We want feedback. What should we be putting on other than the podcast episodes, other than the interviews, some of the silly stuff like that? What are things you guys want to see us do? You want me to throw a pie in a Weekend Trav's face I'll do that.
Whoa. Why do you gotta go straight there? Like, listen, here's the deal. One, you guys should be very grateful that B Money is on this show, because I don't give a crap what you think about this show. Well, actually, okay, I do a little bit, but I don't really care that if you hate what we talk about. This is what we talk about. We talk about boxing. And then sometimes today we've actually done really well. We haven't talked about politics or the big C word, which is positive.
I mentioned Big C a little bit.
Did you? Well, either way, we've been pretty solid in this show about positive stuff. We've been uplifting. We've been very positive. So if you click on our show, it's been very positive, very uplifting, very much like don't make money, but make time for the people that you love and enjoy. And that's the most important thing. So we've been positive in that regard, B-Money.
I'm walking away with bring it, don't sing it.
I'm saying that's like my favorite saying right now, because there's a lot of boxers out there singing the tune of BS. Listen, guys, I'm a professional boxer as well. However, stop singing it. Just bring it, bro. Like, come on, bring it. Don't sing it. Like, listen, that's why. Okay, you know that I already have a very high regard when I talk about Terrence Crawford. I do, not because I fought him, because I fought a lot of top guys. I fought Keith Thurman. I fought Chavez Jr. I fought Paez Jr. I fought all the top guys. I have Jesse Vargas, but you don't hear me singing praise about every one of those guys. And it's because I just sing the praise about Terrence Crawford because I believe it and it's true. Not because I fought him, which helps because I've got to see it firsthand what the kid's capable of. But listen, sing it, don't bring it. So Sean Porter, bring it. And if Bob Arum, which is Terrence Crawford's promoter, if he is like stonewalling you and not paying you the money, then tell us, give it out there to us, because right now I feel like you're singing it and you're not bringing it. So at the end of the day, I want to see you fight. I want to see you bring it. And I want to see Terrence Crawford fight a top guy. And to be fair, B-Money, I really don't care if Terrence Crawford fights Sean Porter. I like Sean Porter. I don't like his style. His style is just, it's a bulldog type of style. It's a rough and tough fight. If you beat him, you are good. You're great. So that's the good thing about it. But he's not fun to watch, and he's a tough fight for anybody. And that's why
I think that pairing would be a fun one to watch because of the stylistic differences. So
you're probably right.
Well, let's do this. Let's do this weekend, Trav, because we will be recording just in a couple more days here for episode 38. Let's go ahead and wrap episode 37 right now. We talked about a few of the fights, or a couple of the fights coming up this weekend. Virgil Ortiz, you're calling a 4th round KO over Maurice Hooker. We got Chris Billam-Smith over there in overseas in England, and he's taking on Vasil Ducar. And you're calling 5th round KO for Chris Billam-Smith. That would make him the WBA Continental Champ, cruiserweight, I think, right?
Yeah.
So either way, that's gonna be a good DAZN day, I guess. I'd have to see what time that match will come up. I would imagine it's kind of going to be close to like a 4 or 6 o'clock, something like that, in order for it to be the proper time over there in England. But anyways, so a big day of boxing on Saturday. We got our recording probably on Sunday this weekend, so we'll be back with you guys. We're going to thank our media partners again: TH Boxing, Gulfstream Financial, that's me, and IF Enterprises. Thank you as always. Weekend Trav, final thoughts. Bring us home.
Listen, I'm from Missouri, so I'm going to go with the whole thing again. I'm a Midwesterner, but show me. Listen, guys, show me. Boxers, every single fan out there, they want to see action over talk. So show me the money. You know what?
Say, do it. Please just do it for us. Do the Jerry. Come on.
Yeah, the Jerry Maguire. Show me the money.
There you go.
But I really don't care about show me the money, because we've just talked about money doesn't matter. It's time that you can't get back. But also for these fighters, it's fights that you can't get back. Because if you pass up fights now, these guys might be older and more and less of a seller later on. So fight them now. and get the credit you deserve, because I'm going to give it. Marvin Hagler fought Sugar Ray Leonard. They both fought each other during their peak. They both were at their peak. So guess what, guys? Let's take a page out of all the old timers' books and fight each other at their best. Stop waiting until they're older. Fight each other at their best. So, Terrence Crawford, fight Sean Porter if you have to. Fight Errol Spence if you have to. But start fighting each other. And you know what? Somebody that has done that is Canelo Alvarez, by the way, which is more credit to him. And I keep making a case that he should be number one, but he's number two still on my page. But he fights the best. He doesn't wait till they're older. He fought Floyd Mayweather. So Canelo fought Floyd Mayweather when Canelo was like 24 years old. Undefeated, but 24 years old. So
and learned a lot from that fight. According to him, he doesn't take it as a loss. He takes it as a learning experience. He learned so much.
And you know what? I thought that real fast. I'll sum it up real fast. I thought that fight was too early, but also I was like, you know what? I don't think Canelo Alvarez can get any better than that fight. But promise you, I will eat my words. Canelo Alvarez post Mayweather has gotten like 10 times better.
Yeah.
The dude is phenomenal. The dude is a great. So fight the best, guys, because you never know after that how you can add to your resume, how you can add to your greatness. And at the end of the day, look at guys like Marvin Hagler. Marvin Hagler is considered one of the greats of his time. He 100% is. The dude was phenomenal. And in a lot of people's opinion, didn't even lose to Sugar Ray Leonard. So the dude is great. Fighters from the great state of Missouri, show me, period.
Bring it, don't sing it. You brought it full circle because, as you mentioned, time is a valuable commodity, and you're never going to get these opportunities again. Anything can change. Lots of stuff can change. You never know what trajectory your career path's going to take, what goes on in families, things like that. Take advantage. Strike now while everyone's irons are hot. This is the time, and it's beautiful for the fans. Beautiful for the fans. You want to win over more and more fans into boxing. Don't rely on the YouTube guys to do it, but they're doing it. But don't rely on them. Fight the fights. That's what's going to bring people to the couch. That's going to bring people to the seats, into the stands, clicking on the pay-per-view buys. That's what's going to do it. So fight right now. Time is a scarce resource, more valuable than money, but you're going to be making money too at the same time. So do it. Just do it. So Weekend Trav, thank you so much for your time here, guy. I guess we're going to wrap it up. That there is Weekend Trav.
That there is B Money.
Thank you so much. God bless. Thanks for joining us. Ooh.